Welcome to A&M Education, College of Creativity and Technology. In today's session, we are going to deal with the topic idioms and phrases. So to begin with, let us learn and understand the meaning of each of these terms. To start with, let us start with idiom. So what is an idiom? An idiom is a collection of words or phrases which have a figurative meaning. So what is figurative meaning? Figurative meaning is nothing but the non-literal meaning or the symbolic meaning. That means the meaning of a phrase or a sentence is different from the meaning of the words written over there. That is generally well established and known. So let us understand this point better by taking up an example. So I have taken up an example here for an idiom, that is, it's a piece of cake. So let us examine both the literal as well as the figurative meaning of this idiom. The literal meaning goes like this. So someone, by pointing at a piece of cake, says that it is a piece of cake. Again, the figurative or the symbolic meaning of it's a piece of cake is it is easy or it is simple. So let us understand this even better by making use of this idiom in a sentence. So I have taken up a sentence over here. The exam that I appeared today seemed to be a piece of cake. So what does this sentence mean? The sentence means that an individual is expressing his happiness that the exam he had appeared for turned out to be easy. So, seemed to be a piece of cake means it is easy. So, the exam was easy. So, an individual is saying that the exam that he appeared for was easy. So, he was happy. So, I hope by this you have understood the meaning of what is an idiom. So, let us now move to what is a phrase. So what is a phrase? Phrase is a small group of words that is like a unit. These units are a part of bigger sentence or a clause. So in simple words, phrase is nothing but they are group of words which act like a unit, but they are incomplete or may not give a meaningful understanding. So only when they become a part of bigger sentence or a clause, they become meaningful. So let us understand this with the help of an example. Here I have taken up an example for a phrase. So the example is glass full of water. So glass full of water is a group of words. It acts like a unit, but they are not complete. It is not complete. So when it becomes a part of a sentence, it becomes complete. So let us examine that as well. So phrase is a part of a sentence. So he drank a glass full of water. Now phrase, the glass full of water has become a part of a sentence. He drank a glass full of water. So this becomes meaningful. What is the meaning of the sentence? It is saying that an individual or a man drank a glass full of water. So I hope this is clear now. So having understood this, let us move to the techniques. That is, techniques to solve questions related to idioms and phrases. So I have listed few of them. Let us examine each one of them. The first is develop the habit of reading. So a variety of questions on idioms and phrases is asked in most of the competitive exams, and the only way to get or achieve expertise in solving such questions is continuous reading or to develop the habit of reading, and thus you will be able to explore more idioms and phrases. The next point is understand the context. So idioms and phrases are basically situational or they are circumstantial. What does this mean? This means that they can't be used whenever you want. Instead, they are made used in a situation or a scenario which is suitable, and also it is made use to rhyme a particular statement. So thus in relation to it, an idiom is chosen. Thus, understanding the situation or the context is important as it will help you in understanding and remembering the idioms better. Okay, the third point is prepare a list. So, preparing for idioms and phrases is not a piece of cake. So, here I have made use of an idiom. The idiom says it is not a piece of cake. Earlier, we have examined a similar idiom. So, there it was, it is a piece of cake. And the meaning of that particular idiom was it is easy. So here I am telling that it is not a piece of cake. That means the task is not simple, it is not easy. So what is not easy? Preparing for idioms and phrases is not easy. Why is it not easy? Because there are thousands of phrases in English language. Again, they keep evolving. That is, new phrases are written or composed with the evolving of new literature. So it is advised to carry a list of these idioms and phrases. That is, whenever you encounter an unfamiliar one, just write it down. Write it down along with its meaning and context. So this becomes useful for you at the time of your revision for some of the examination. The fourth one is categorize or grouping of idioms and phrases. So idioms and phrases are not easy or playful that you can learn or memorize them in bulk or at one go. So follow this technique of categorizing or grouping. So what is this technique? That is, plan the number of idioms or phrases that you can learn per day, and again categorize them on the basis of similar meaning or themes, and accordingly memorize a section or theme wise. So let us move to the next point. Use visual imagery. So what does this point mean? This means that visual memories are long lasting. That is, when you witness an incident visually, its memory will have a strong impression on your mind. So follow the similar technique over here. That is, whenever you come across an idiom or a phrase, try relating them to the stories and remember it with a visualization technique. That is, start visualizing it. Again, do not get too hasty. That means, do not rush with too many visual images. Instead, give time and stay organized. Do it in an organized way. The next one is explore the origin of idioms and phrases. So here, what does this mean is that most of the idioms and phrases have very interesting original stories to it. So you should try and explore them, as they will help you in understanding the meaning of these idioms and phrases better. So I have taken up here 2 examples to understand this point better. The first example or the first idiom goes like this: straight from the horse mouth. So the origin of this particular idiom is like this. This one is said to have originated in 1900. During the horse trade, the buyers could determine the age of a horse by examining its teeth. So it is said that during a horse trade, the buyers could determine the age, could gauge the age of a horse by examining its teeth. And the meaning of this particular idiom now is getting information directly from the most reliable source. So the origin says that the age of the horse, which is an useful information to buy them, right? So that was known by examining its teeth. So this can be the most reliable source or the most trustful source to buy a horse. So even now this particular idiom is used in a similar way. So getting information directly from the most reliable source, this means that. So let us examine the second idiom. The second idiom taken over here is get one's goat. So the origin of this idiom goes like this. This one comes from horse racing. It is said that the jockeys placed goats in the stables. Stables is a shelter home of horse with their horses, as this was said to relax the horses. However, competitors would remove the goats of their rivals to create stress to their competitors' horses, hoping they would consequently lose the race. So this was basically an act to disturb or trouble someone. So even today, this particular idiom, get one's goat, means to irritate or annoy someone. So likewise, explore the original stories or relate it to your own personal life and remember these idioms. So without further ado, let us examine an exercise to understand this better. So here we have got a list of idioms and the options following it. So let us read this. Choose from the options which express the correct meaning of the idioms or phrases. So let us start with. The first idiom goes like this: to fish in troubled waters. And we are supposed to identify the meaning of this idiom. So the options given are A. To be in trouble. B. To make capital out of others' troubles. C. To be in trouble because of others' fault. D. To laugh at others' trouble, and E. None of these. So the answer for this question is B, that is to make capital out of others' troubles. So why is this answer? Because by reading the phrase, we can understand that the scenario is a disturbed one or a troubled atmosphere. And again, fishing. Fishing is an occupation. Why is it done? Because you're trying to earn or to make profit. Thus, to fish in troubled waters means to make capital or profit out of a troubled situation. And hence, option B, to make capital out of others' troubles, is the most appropriate answer for the idiom to fish in troubled waters. So, now let us move to the next one. The second question goes like this: to clear the air. And the options given are A. To work hard, B. To work properly, C. To remove tension, D. To create confusion, and E. None of these. So, the answer for this question is option C, that is to remove tension. So, why is this answer? Because by having read the options and having read the idiom, that is to clear the air, we get the understanding that it is to clear something or to remove something. So, looking at the options, only option C here has got the word remove in it. So, we can consider this option, that is to remove tension. To clear the air means to remove tension. So, let us go to the third question. The third question is a long face. So, the options given are A. A sad or mournful countenance, B. A very shameful defeat, C. A shameful act, D. An ugly face, E. None of these. So, the answer for this question is A, that is a sad or mournful countenance. Here, a long face means it is talking about a facial expression. So, whenever one is in sad or in grief, his face appears to be a long face. So, the answer for this question is a sad or mournful countenance is justified. So, let us move to the fourth question. The fourth question is from hand to mouth, or the fourth idiom is from hand to mouth. The options given are to harm and humiliate, to be a bankrupt, to spend all that is earned, to feed someone, and E. None of these. So, the answer for this question is C, that is to spend all that is earned. So, when you read this phrase, that is from hand to mouth, here hand is symbolic representation of work and mouth is to be fed or to be consumed. So, it is trying to say that whatever is earned is all spent on fulfilling his requirements, not just food but also other requirements of his. So, this answer is justified. So, let us move to the next question. The fifth question here is, or the fifth idiom here is, pay back in one's own coin. The options are A. To save money, B. To treat in the same way as one has been treated, C. To get the return of the investment, D. To give a befitting reply, E. None of these. The answer for this question is option B, that is to treat in the same way as one has been treated. So, when you see the phrase, that is pay back in one's own coin, that is pay back, take the first part of it, pay back. So, to return something, this means to return something. And now examine the options. So, the option B, to treat in the same way as one has been treated. Option C, to get the return of the investment. And option D, to give a befitting reply. So, all of these fit in the criteria. What criteria? To return something. Now, examine the second part of the phrase, that is in one's own coin. So, the second part is one's own coin. So, what does this mean now? That indicates something in a similar way. So, now join these puzzle pieces, that is to return something in a similar way, which is how the way he has received it. So the option B, that is to treat in the same way as one has been treated. Now the answer is justified. Let us move to the next question. So the sixth question is to do away with, or the sixth idiom is to do away with. The options here are A, to break, B, to destroy, C, to get rid of, D, to forget, E, none of these. So the answer for this question is C, that is to get rid of. When you closely examine the phrase, that is to do away with, we get the idea that the phrase means trying to distance away something. The phrase means to do away with means to distance away something. So option C is the most appropriate here. Option C means to get rid of. So the answer is justified. Let us move to the next question. The seventh question is to give the cold shoulder, and the options given are A, to give support, B, to be indifferent, C, to express anger silently, D, to behave in a cold manner with someone, and option E, none of these. So the answer for this question is option D, to behave in a cold manner with someone. So why is this answer? Because while you examine all the options, option D, that is to behave in a cold manner with someone, is something like elaborating or rephrasing the same like the question. So please read and understand, it is again rephrasing the similar thing. So the answer is justified. Let us move to the next question quickly. The eighth question is to make up to, and the options are option A, to amend, option B, try to rectify a wrong, option C, to modify, option D, to substitute, option E, none of these. So the answer for this question is B, that is try to rectify a wrong. Why is this answer? Because here while we examine the options, option A, that is to amend, option C, that is to modify, and option D, that is to substitute. So all of these three options means same. All mean to say that to change or to replace, and it's only option B, that is try to rectify a wrong, that is to correct or make up something that is wrongly done, which means the question to make up to. So the answer is justified. So let us move to the next question. Okay, the ninth question is to lead by the nose, and the options are A, to be a leader, B, to be self-dependent, C, to control absolutely, option D, to feel superior on others, and option E, none of these. And the answer for this question is option C, that is to control absolutely. This means to be authoritative, to be dominating and exhibit control or authority on everyone. So to lead by the nose is to control everyone, to be dominating over everyone. So the option C is justified. So let us move to the last question, that is the 10th question. The 10th question is to bite one's lips, and the options are A, to feel shameful, B, to feel shy, C, to be furious, furious is to be angry, and option D, to be in doubt, option E, none of these. And the answer for this question is option C, that is to be furious or to be angry. So why is this answer? Because here to bite one's lips, so this biting one's lips is an impulsive act. What is an impulsive act? Impulsive act is an act which is performed without giving a thought. That is, there is no logic or reason behind an action of an individual. To bite one's lips is an impulsive act. So when this act is performed by an individual, is it when he is shameful, or is it when he is shy, or is it when he is furious, that is when he is angry, or when he is in doubt? So it is when he is angry. So when he is furious. So whenever an individual is furious, he bites his lips. So the answer is C, to be furious, and thus the answer is justified. So by this we come to an end of this session, but I would like to give a final reminder like I always say, please practice. Practice as many as questions possible related to idioms and phrases because practice makes things perfect. So by saying this, I end this session. Thank you.